Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
It's motorsport, but not as you know it. Test yourself and your everyday road car. Safe, affordable, but most of all, fun. And all you need is your daily driver. Experience the thrill of a sprint day. Race against the clock at a hill climb. Or test your reflexes with an auto test. It takes just 3 simple steps to get started. Get on the start line. Search Motorsport Australia Daily Driver today.
It's time for the final discipline of Motorsport Australia and ANZ E-Series Category King. Well, we've had sports car racing, we've had formula racing, we've had oval racing on dirt, oval racing on pavement. The last is dirt road racing, rallycross, and one of the most famous racing circuits in all of world rallycross is Hell-Lankabanen. And that's where we're going to be for the final of the 5 disciplines of Category King. And the car they're going to be racing in as well is the Volkswagen Beetle Rallycross car. You'll see the drivers just finishing up some of their practice at the moment. To bring you live coverage of it all here, SimSpeed TV, David Haynes with Daniel Yeaman, and the sun just starting to set a little bit, perhaps, over the Rallycross circuit.
Yeah, it is looking a little darker here than I would expect. Although, actually, according to my in-sim time, 4:09 a.m.
Oh.
So actually, maybe the other way around here, David. So, sun might just come up over due course here tonight.
One of the most northerly racing circuits anywhere in the world, here in Norway, and it's relatively near to Trondheim as well. So it's not even in the more southerly part of Norway, quite far north, but they get lots of fans here. There's a couple of different layouts of this place. With the pavement, with the dirt, we're using the most traditional of the rallycross layouts, and it's built almost into the side of a mountain here as well. A lot of elevation around, beautiful scenery, and the racing circuit, of course, the surface changes all around the lap. Parts of it paved, parts of it dirt and slippery. Some of those curbs around here, you can see you can hook for a little bit of traction. You're constantly varying your line to try to race door to door with your competitors.
Yeah, that you are indeed. And I'll just have event information for you tonight up in just a couple of moments as well. It's a little bit of a smaller field than we were expecting as well here tonight to finish things off. Does mean that we are probably going to have a bit of a shorter, sharper broadcast than we usually would, as we do have multiple heats scheduled, but I would suspect, based on what I'm seeing here, we're not likely to get too many of them in use here tonight. Practice just ended, and it's 2 laps, 5 minutes solo qualifying, same as what we've seen elsewhere in this one here tonight.
Yeah, so room for up to 30 competitors. You can have heats, eliminations. The drivers eventually all get their way into a final with the top drivers. So we had room for up to, I think, 6 heats of 5 cars each. We'll see how many heats, all in all, are actually necessary to set the grid for the 20-lap feature race. Of course, then qualifying sets an order That order then gets snake split into the heats, and then I believe our top drivers from the heats will go through into the feature. And then, of course, your finishing order in some of those heats then sets your ultimate grid position in the Big Daddy, the 20-lap feature race.
Yep, sure will indeed. I think based on our numbers here tonight, we are just going to have a single heat to keep an eye on for this one tonight. So we'll keep things a little simpler in terms of tracking how many drivers to worry about. In fact, it might even be the case that, well, with the drivers here tonight, everyone will go through once we get this one underway here, as drivers should be starting to head out for their qualifying runs now. Indeed they are. I will get footage of that all for you folks in just a couple of moments' time.
And then something that the drivers aren't going to use in qualifying, I don't expect, but could come their way, of course, in the race, is the Joker lap. Part of the configurations of these rally cross circuits, sometimes you have a slightly different layout that you need to take a set number of times per race. It's one Joker in the heats, one Joker in the feature here at Hell. Typically for European rallycross tracks, the Joker is a longer extension, and for the American rallycross tracks, it's a bit of a shortcut. Duncanbarton's one of the European style of rallycross circuits. Look here at Roberts. Of course, everyone in the same Volkswagen Beetle, so you're not going to have a variety of rallycross cars, of which there are some on iRacing, but everyone is going to be in this one. Roberts, they just hook a little bit of the curbing there, because the racing surface is dirt, but the curb normally offers less grip, but it can offer just a little bit more, can give you some good traction. Callum Newton's gone to the top for the moment as we're on board with Roberts completing the lap. To the left is where they start, but the timing line is just there with a little bit of a jump. Zach Rattray-White's gone to the extreme top. David Atkinson in third. You can see the surface change continually around here.
Yeah, that is one of the things here with a hybrid dirt and dirt mix. Yeah, the dirt parts of the circuit will very much adjust as we go on here tonight, and that will be interesting to keep our eyes on as to how much they allow the track to evolve here. Although with a small field also, David, might not see as much as we'd like to normally see as well.
Expecting the lap time from Ben Roberts here. And he goes to the top there, just ahead of Zach Rattray-White. I think the first lap, for whatever reason, may not have counted for Roberts, or it scored one on his outlap that it shouldn't have. He's still pressing on here. He's gone to the top ahead of Rattray-White. Newton Feldman slots in there, and then David Atkinson and Rue Koistra. Yeah, no, that is two completed for Ben Roberts, of which only the second was counted. So, category king here. Volkswagen Beetle GRX Lite, which I believe is free content, so that's useful. And we're at Hell RX for 12 laps in the heat with one Joker, 20 laps in the feature with one Joker lap. Feldman, he was in fourth, but just as I open my mouth, gets split and goes down to fifth as Justin Callant goes through into fourth. How many cars per heat are you seeing? Because theoretically this should be enough for two heats, shouldn't it?
Let's see. I'm trying to get a read on... I'm struggling to get a read on exactly how it's going to break it up. It's a very... I mean, what have we got? We've got 7 competitors here at the moment, and all of them have set times here in qualifying, as you can see. If they've been set to a maximum of 6, we might sneak a second heat in, and it breaks into a 3 and a 4. As Justin finishes his run, it just leaves Ben Roberts, I think, doing some more laps around. No, apparently not. And Rue Koistra, likewise. In fact, actually, there's Rue Koistra parked up at the starting gantry. He's not going anywhere at the moment. So I think that's going to conclude the qualifying session here, David. And it's now just a matter of waiting until time strikes 0 here at Hell.
So, or it freezes over. If we get 2 heats, then the snake split would put qualifiers 1, 3, 5, and 7 in the first heat, and 2, 4, and 6 in the other. So, yeah, we'll see how many splits it makes from us. But by doing the snake split from qualifying or the seeding, whatever method of seeding you use for a split heats, it needs to take the snake. So So this is the result of qualifying. Ben Roberts, fastest, 38 seconds, just fractionally quicker than Zach Rattray White, second quickest. Then Callum Newton, third quickest. Justin Talent, fourth quickest. Diane Feldman there in fifth. David Atkinson in sixth. And our seventh qualifier was Rue Koistra.
And let's actually show you the order for the grid for the heats. And I can tell you in sim, we are going to get 2 heat races here tonight, David.
So this is the drivers who qualified in odd-numbered positions. First fastest, third fastest, fifth and seventh fastest. Puts 4 cars in this heat. And as the best seeded heat with the top qualifier, the winner of this race would get pole in the feature as well.
Yeah, well, good to see. We will have ourselves a little bit more racing than just the 1 heat, the 1 feature. So 2 heats, 1 feature coming your way here tonight, folks. And it will be the chance to also then categorize ourselves a winner in this one as a result. As a part of all of this event, of course, there's been the race to find the category king as well. Keep in mind.
So in the words of Motorhead, don't forget the Joker for this heat. They're going to need 1 in this 12-lap race. And this is always the fun thing you get on these rallycross layouts. You don't normally have the starting grid on the normal part of the racetrack. You get these wide starting grids that send you down motocross style onto the racetrack, and from there they lap continually. So we start underneath this starting gantry with a wide, almost land rush start, not quite Crandon rallycross 20 wide start, but you can see the 4 cars for this race are 3 wide on the front, and then 1 car the 1 row back, 3 wide start. Roberts there, the fastest qualifier, goes into heat number 1 with the inside line on Callum Newton in the middle, and then Diane Feldman on the extreme left, Rue Koistra on the back off of this one. 12 laps should get done in give or take 8 minutes or so, with 40-second lap times around here as well. So it will be a pretty short, sharp little race, but there is strategy to be had with when you take the Joker. Take it early, take it late. If you've got clean air pace, but you can't pass easily, then the Joker, using it timed well, can really, really help you out on that.
Sure could indeed. So we've got everyone on the grid here. We're just waiting for the clock to strike 0 here. And oh, camera's going to switch on us right there as we looking for a start in this one here tonight, folks. Get ready to drop the hammer. And there it goes. We're away in heat number 1.
Dropping the clutch on the 4-wheel drive, Ben Roberts with great launch towards the very, very first corner. And there, an immediate run for the Joker. There it is, you run wide out of turn 1, and that's going to give clean air to the driver now back in 4th place, Diane Feldman. So they've got quick pace. They'll close in on the rest of these drivers who'll then need to take the Joker. It's a bit of an overcut sort of situation to be had there. Callum Newton all over the rear bumper of Benjamin Roberts off this race start. Feldman super sideways and wide through those dirt corners. Picking a tight line's often the way to go. Ben Roberts, he hasn't gone early for that Joker. Just going to hold on to this lead for a moment. But Newton is looking pretty pacey in terms of race pace here as well, just to keep Roberts on the toes. Newton now taking a wider line into that first hairpin and still staying within a couple of car lengths here, that a strategic use of the Joker could come in handy.
Work your way down to this back upper circuit, off the asphalt, onto the dirt once more. Get all over the curb there, as is recommendable. And then power back out on the way up towards this last couple of corners here in this segment of the track, David. And then back to the asphalt once more as you loop back around to start another lap.
There is an all-pavement configuration in this place as well. You can see a couple of the ways that you could stay entirely on the pavement here. This is the classic rallycrossers. Second place is going to go straight for the Joker. So Callum Newton's thinking, I'm not going to get past Benjamin Roberts on track, but if I take this Joker, give myself a little bit of clear space, if my next 4 or 5 laps are quick, and I can close this gap. Look at it right now, 5.5 seconds from Callum Newton to Benjamin Roberts. If that number goes down and goes down a lot, then when Benjamin Roberts takes that Joker that he's obliged to take at least once, and probably only maximum of once in this race, then Newton could pass Roberts if these next couple of laps are good. Rue Koistra has also gone and taken the Joker? Oh, Questra did right at the start. It's Feldman that we're not sure has yet.
Feldman definitely went first. Which I see is... Here we go. There you go. Completed Joker laps next to all the drivers in the tower.
Yep. They have all gone for it except Roberts. And so that's given Callum Newton the space to take that Joker, come out still in second place, and now try to reel in on Roberts.
He's doing very good to close. He's really in all right.
Yeah, have we missed Roberts taking the Joker or something? Because it did go from 4 to 1. Or was there a mistake from Roberts? Refresh your Joker laps graphic, please, Mr. Director.
I'm just going to see, does it update at the end of every lap? Yes, there's your answer.
Roberts reacted very quickly because, as we talked about, if Benjamin Roberts let that sit, Callum Newton could have got within what you almost want to think of like a pit window of him. Then Roberts was really not, as the only driver, not having taken a Joker lap, not going to gain anything from just letting it sit and not clearing it early. Now he has. They've all taken their Joker laps inside of the first half of this race. Roberts is showing why he's the quickest qualifier. These lines are super tight, particularly on the gravel. You think, oh yeah, you can flip this car sideways. You've got four-wheel drive. You can get it a bit wide, but often the best pace comes from keeping a tight line on the dirt, keeping the car pretty square and straight and not too sideways, not getting too exuberant.
Yeah, it's a bit of handwork inside these cars here to go on board with Roberts. That's a lot of options. Look, that's too much.
He's going to lose the race lead. He's done too much through the dirt hairpin. Callum Newton is going to come through side by side with him. Callum Newton is going to go to the lead of this first heat. A mistake from Roberts, too exuberant on the dirt. Exactly what we said. And he's spun it around. Callum Newton goes through to the race lead. Will have pole position for the feature if he can win this heat, but now he's a little wide. Roberts looking for the inside. I think Roberts can put a lot of pressure on right here, but now Newton knows he's fallible. The mistake that we saw down at the bottom of the hill here. So take a look. You go in here, you can loop a little bit of the handbrake, but did he get too much of that curve on the inside? Did he high side himself on the tall curves?
Let's go to a race replay here because we were obviously
well, it's so rare that you go to a replay during a rallycross heat.
But I thought it'd be worth it because
we need it.
Yeah, I was on board and it was a bad angle. But yeah, hooks.
Too much curb. So the thing grips up in a weird way and he sort of skids the under tray of the car on the curb, loops himself around, and Callum Newton goes, well, okay, I'll go to the race lead, but the pace that Roberts has got, he's pressuring him all the way. There's only a couple of laps left. Do you foresee Roberts trying to dive it down the inside? Absolutely you do. He nearly does the same thing again though. Look at the brake lights come on, but he scares Newton who runs wide, gets the barrier. Roberts has his nose in front looking for the next left-hander, but the track position is key and it's like a dirt oval style. Oh, a bomb there that we get. The slide job. Callum Newton keeps the race lead and he's got his elbows super wide at hell.
Well, this is getting exciting, to say the least here, it seems. On board with Roberts now, looking once again at Newton. As we're deep into the second half of this heat now, with just 4 laps to go. And man, that was a bold, well, a bit of an attack, but then a big defense from Newton there as he fired into this left-hand sweeper, David, and refused to give up the lead.
Why would you? But you see the kind of lines that Newton's running. He's not rotating the car very well on the way in. He pushes wide a little bit in places, and then he needs to snap the car as he gets to throttle, and that hurts your drive out of the corners if you're too sideways through the corner exit. Ideally, you want to drive a little bit go-kart where you flip the tail out on the way in on your way to the apex, but then straighten it, minimum resistance, on your way out. Pardon me. Callum Newton struggling with that a little bit. Roberts is, if anything, rotating his car a little too well. Again, he gets super tight to that line through the hairpin, but Newton is making fewer mistakes even if his ultimate pace isn't quite as maximised as we're seeing from Ben Roberts.
Working it once. He's trying to find everything. He's got better runs in several spots. Just hasn't quite got it all to come together just yet as he looks to the inside at turn 1. The door's left open by Newton, and that Roberts knows just ahead now into the second corner here on lap 11, but no, Newton inside will take the lead and get a couple of car lengths back as a momentary reprieve.
Yeah, tight left-hander descending downhill there, just keeps Newton back in it. Roberts is taking that risky but quick line through the lower hairpin. It's not letting him get past. Oh, and he's super sideways again now. I think he might be ripping the handbrake in a couple of these places, because what he's got is one last lap to try to take the win. Both of them will progress to the feature, no doubt, but this is for some points, some bragging rights, and also to set who's going to be on pole for that feature race. Newton's going to give him a little bit more hip and shoulder there, so it really is a little bit of a contact sport here at the moment.
That sounds about what you'd expect from rallycross. You're allowed to get your elbows out just a bit, as long as you don't completely barge another driver off the circuit. As final time down through this bottom hairpin and power back out for the run to the line. Just negotiate 2 corners left. Again, Newton is in. He's turning in too early for that flick. And as a result, we're having to make a second bit of steering. As eyes on here, the Newton, as he just fends off Ben Roberts' final lunge across the line, across the hops and jumps the start-finish stretch. That will be the flag for Callum Newton, and pole in the feature indeed is his.
And he does give a cheeky rip of the handbrake. Look how dirty all of these cars have gotten across this race. The beautiful white paint that Newton, Feldman started with, even Rue Koistra here, has really had some dust added to it across just 12 laps. Remembering that the feature is going to be 20, I think everyone goes through to the feature, do they not, at this point? How many cars was the feature going to be?
I believe, based on the way I'm seeing it, everyone will go through tonight, yes. Based on the way I'm receiving information in Sim.
And with that being the highest seeded heat, Callum Newton's going to go to the pole of the feature, but the second place on the grid for the feature will be decided in this heat that's got Zach Rattray White and Justin Talent. And it's just the 3 cars for this heat, as it's the even numbers. So with David Atkinson as well, all 3 will start side by side for the race start in this heat. And they will have had the benefit of having watched heat number 1 and seeing some of the tactics around where the speed was found, where the passing places were, and when to take the joker.
Yep, they will indeed. The question is, also the other thing is, with this heat here, we've got ourselves one perfect row of 3 drivers. With the other heat, with heat 1, we had one driver sitting off the back, but enough talking about those kinds of possibilities. Here we go for our second standing start of the night. Who can get the jump as they put the hammer down, and away they roll.
12 laps again for Heat 2, and this is a much more even start on the way down to the first hairpin. Going for the joker immediately. Justin Talent, interesting. It looks super slippery, that lesser used surface around the joker lap there, and it is quite dirty as well. So, Talent then immediately going wide at the next corner as well. There's Zach Rattray White trying to hook that same line with grip and rotation over the curb at the lower hairpin. He runs through still in the lead. Now pulling a whole second on David Atkinson. He looped it around himself. Some of them are really struggling with the rotation. Zach Rattray White's going to lose the lead to David Atkinson. Too exuberant, trying to flip the tail on the way into the corner, and it half spun itself on Zach Rattray White. Is he going to immediately go for the joker? I'd be tempted to in that situation, but he's not. He's going to stay stuck behind David Atkinson for just a little bit. And again, keep an eye on the gap between these guys and Justin Talent, who took that joker early. I think he's pulled half a second on this now battling duo. One of them's probably going to want to have to go for that joker next lap around. If I'm Atkinson, I think I hold the track position for a bit. Passing is not easy, even if Zach Rattray White is going to get a little firm with it.
You can see he has an idea of what he wants to do here, getting a bit of slide into it, handbrake or no. As he's going to get up on the right rear of Atkinson, but still cannot get past, and indeed that gap has come down by a good couple of tenths. And finally, Rattray White will fly to the joker. Question is now, of course, does he come out in front of Talent?
He does a much tighter run through the line on the joker there, but he will still, with that mistake earlier on in this race, come out behind Justin Talent. So I think for being stuck behind Atkinson, Zach Rattray White made a good move to take the joker then, but he's now going to have to work his way past Justin Talent and make sure that he's pulling time out of David Atkinson so that when Atkinson takes the joker, he'll get him. But Talent's run really, really wide there, struggling with the turnout. I think if you've got too much brake on and you turn, you just plow it. The trick to rotating these things is rather difficult. Atkinson's still got to take a joker. Both of these have taken a joker. He does now.
He looks like he has, yes. So there you go, dropping back. Yep, slots in behind. So 3 laps in, everyone takes their jokers. So that cleans things up nice and easy. Big handbrake application from Talent, but he fires in too deep. Rattray White is handed the lead on a bit of a silver platter there, David, down the bottom of the track.
Oh, it's a tough corner to run in that tight, and again, struggling to rotate the car with the change of direction into the left. So Rattray White with that mistake earlier, but he's got the pace on these guys now that everyone has completed their joker lap early in this smaller heat than Heat 1. 4 cars in Heat 1, 3 cars in Heat 2. So for Rattray White, this is to start second place. And when you think about 7 cars on the race start of that feature race, I do very much fancy being on the first row of 3 cars and not a row or so further back.
Yeah, no, that definitely would be ideal to get a clean position to get a clean getaway, I should say here. So right on board.
He gets to the grass, right? For that left-hander, he gets all the way up to the grass and he turns in almost with the outside tyres on the grass to get rotation there.
Yeah, he's definitely using as much as he can of the circuit here. So I'm just going to tweak the camera angle a little bit while we're in the middle of watching this onboard here with Rattray White, and just show just how much of he's working the wheel in this car as well whilst we're doing it, running around here at Hell RX. That there, I think, gives a good indication of what we're working with.
When you're on board with the supercars, you see the sequential shifter move. Here, I'm not, and I'm also not seeing the handbrake, unfortunately, because an idea of the handbrake usage would be a little interesting. What you do see, though, is how often you're banging up and down the gears in what's a really short-geared car, because it's designed for little tracks like this. It's designed to flick into tight corners, power out, second, third, fourth, fifth, and keep the turbo going.
Yeah, it certainly is indeed. Keep the revs up, keep it moving as far forward as best you can. As scrapping in behind, Atkinson has had a moment at turn 1 by the looks of things.
And then leaped a little bit of the curb, yeah. So Atkinson a little bit further back now in third place. Could have been challenging Justin Talent. Came out of his joker in third, if I recall. Here we are with that little jump on the way into turn 1. And then, he gets the handbrake. Okay, yeah. And then he loops it around, and yeah, through goes Justin Talent into second. That's an extra additional 360.
A bit of an oopsies there indeed. It does mean, unfortunately, the gap blows out now. 10 seconds for Zach Rattray White. Justin Talent as he continues to march on. So it's just a matter of counting down the laps here to wrap up this heat. It feels like, at least. Anyways, we'll see if that is the case or not.
Thankfully, Norway is a very good place to be a new parent, because I think that handbrake turn might have gotten a couple of girls pregnant. Not quite the style points he was going for, and it dropped him the position behind Zach Rattray White, who's now extending this to a big lead. So for whatever reason, Heat 1 a little bit more competitive than Heat 2 here, even though you've got the drivers who qualified 4th and 6th in this one. And the previous one had the drivers who qualified 1st, 3rd, 5th and 7th. The wipers do work.
Some of the things we get to enjoy by watching this racing as it happens.
It really did clear up a particularly part of the window banner there that contains Rattray White's name.
Yeah, well, I guess we can appreciate that for the next couple of laps here as they run around here. Pardon me, we just had a moment there. That's caused us a bit of a crash. That's a nice new one indeed. Well, we'll just get something on screen, folks. Unfortunately, I don't have B-roll of Hell RX to work with, so I'm going to have to bring up this there for now.
Director's gone and pulled the handbrake on his own coverage, unfortunately. So that spun us out at sim speed.
That's a new one indeed. All right, guess I'll get to work on fixing this then as soon as it'll play ball.
I'll put to you that Zach Rattray White is probably still leading heat number 2, probably going to win heat number 2, and that'll put him to start on the front row between Callum Newton and Ben Roberts, I think, at that stage.
That does sound about right indeed. Yes, so I'll have an update for you all as soon as I can.
And there was a 5-minute warm-up between the end of Heat 2 and the start of the feature race as well. So even if we miss the end of this second heat, I think unlikely we're going to miss out on any of the coverage of the 20-lap feature, the final event of ANZ E-Series and Motorsport Australia's Category King. Fifth and final of the disciplines after sports cars, Formula cars, dirt oval, pavement oval, and dirt road, aka rallycross. But not exclusively rallycross. There's also jumpy trucks and what's normally called off-road trucks, which race only on dirt, not this mixture pavement and dirt that most rallycross circuits have got.
Yes, yeah, that is very good point to make there, indeed. So we are almost covered just about everything. I mean, we also didn't get any stock car racing on asphalt. I should classify. I guess the dirt mini stocks, in a sense, come close, I guess, to a stock car. In a sense, there's might be able to hear some sounds. And I think, yeah, they're just literally taking the checkered flag as I rejoin.
Lankabanen is situated at Lanka in Stjordal, 6 kilometers from the village of Hell, 7 kilometers from Trondheim Airport. By road, it is about 40 kilometers from Trondheim. Venue consists of a main asphalt course for rallycross. This is modified, so the course is 63% asphalt and 37% gravel. That is 5/8 and 3/8 respectively in American terms. The rallycross configuration, the track is 1,019 meters long, 15 meters wide. In addition to the road course, Lankabanen features both a hill climbing and motocross track in the hillside below the circuit. I wonder if I've got any other fun facts here. Well, facilities include a combined clubhouse, office, canteen, and classroom building. It features 4 tracks for slippery courses, as well as a possibility for simulating traffic situations on the track for driver training. That's the roundabout you can see in the middle there. Yeah. That'd be a fun way to get your license.
That'd be one way there, indeed. So drivers are getting a little bit more practice here in warm-up. And as we do, David, I can actually cut back to that footage now live. We're hoping we won't have another one of those in-sim crashes there.
Oh yeah, you would have been out, so you probably can't replay the final lap of the previous race.
Indeed, unfortunately, I have completely lost all footage there from the end of heat number 2.
Get a load of this. Various of the drivers practicing the Joker. If there's one thing I noticed out of the 2 previous heats, is that while a lot of the drivers have their lines down pat and tight through the most of the race course, a few of them got really hot into the Joker, found the dirt slippery, more loosely packed than other places, less worn in, and maybe could have gone a little bit quicker through that really important part of the racetrack that is your timing of the Joker. Normally you take the Joker because you're trying to pass someone, or you've seen someone else take it and you don't want to get undercut. So you go and take the Joker. You always take it at a really critical time. So nailing it just perfectly, I think, is super, super important. And they're practicing that now in the warm-up, because there will be more traffic congestion in the feature as we bring the full grid back together. That's not far away, so we'll take a little break here on SimSpeed TV, and when we come back, the very, very final race of ANZ E-Series and Motorsport Australia Esports Category King.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
It's motorsport, but not as you know it. Test yourself and your everyday road car. Safe, affordable, but most of all, fun. And all you need is your daily driver. Experience the thrill of a sprint day. Race against the clock at a hill climb. Or test your reflexes with an auto test. It takes just 3 simple steps to get started. Get on the start line. Search Motorsport Australia Daily Driver today.
We're getting ready for the feature race of dirt road category of Category King at Hell Rallycross, Lankabanen. Taking a look at a few of the drivers, trying to work out where the speed is going to be. The 20-lap race, there is plenty of time to make some passes, but we've seen how costly mistakes have been. Drivers, a little bit too much exuberance with the handbrake through some corners, a little too much exuberance across these rather nasty little curbs in places as well. And the results of the 2 previous heats are going to lock in the grid for this 20-lap feature race of the Rallycross layout. It's going to give us a big, wide Rallycross start from the starting zone towards the hairpin turn 1 here at Hell RX. We're down to the bottom right section there. 20 laps for the feature race, 1 Joker lap required. Joker lap is a dirt, almost penalty lap on the outside of turn 1. And after all of the heat racing, this is what we're going to get. Callum Newton on the inside of the front row, Zach Rattray-White in the middle, Benjamin Roberts on the outside of row 1, and they're ready to go now. Justin Talent from the second row gets a really, really good launch there as well. Ruquestra and Darren Feldman, a few of them. Oh, there's a race into the Joker lap. And so Callum Newton is going to get the lead on this one. Justin Talent, weird little line bouncing around there, getting heaps of the curve. Callum Newton's going to go through into the race lead. He's got clear track, and it looks like Rattray-White, Roberts, and Diane Feldman all went for the Joker lap. It was Rattray-White and Roberts that were into each other in the Joker lap. Now it's Koistra and Feldman who are into each other out of the hairpin. Talent and Koistra. Well, a couple more of them gone for it. So Callum Newton just went for the Joker, and it means he's rejoined right in between Rattray-White and Roberts. Roberts gets to the inside of him, a little bit of contact coming out of the hairpin. It's a tough, narrow part of the racetrack here, heading towards the left-hander. Rattray-White's going to love having all of the space to play with. Callum Newton, he's got so much experience now fending off Ben Roberts, though, from the heat race that the two of them contended earlier. Roberts has got to the inside of him, though, coming out of the final corner, gets in front, heading into the turn 1 hairpin. Rattray-White for the fastest lap of the race, Ben Roberts. He finally worked out how to make some clean passes around here. He's gone a second, and he was quickest in qualifying. Quickest, but didn't win the first heat. He's a driver who really could challenge Rattray-White in this race. So another fastest lap for Rattray-White. The question here is if Roberts can figure it out, because there are so many laps left in this race. Everyone's gone for the Joker within the first 3 of the 20 laps. They didn't want it hanging over their head as something they still need to serve. They look to clear it really quickly. I think it's Callum Newton taking it early that surprised me. After Rattray-White and Roberts both went for it, both had the opportunity to battle it out, that Newton didn't run just a little bit longer. What he's done is run a little bit wide out of the penultimate corner there. Beautiful high shot Looking at Roberts, closing in somewhat on Zach Rattray-White. Pressure still immense right here. It's a surface change on the way into that hairpin that's so critical. You're braking on the pavement, but you turn in, and by the time you're in the corner, it's gone to dirt, and then you get a little bit of pavement driving off the exit. Roberts has gotten right to the rear bumper of Rattray-White, who keeps the tight line. That's the way to defend on rallycross, is own the inside, own the apex, own the corner, and your opponent is going to struggle to pass you. So long as Rattray-White doesn't run in too deep on any of these corners, and he can defend the inside, will be tough for Roberts to affect the pass. What Roberts has done so well, though, is getting good traction from a narrow exit off of these corners. How he got past Newton earlier on in his feature race, at the final corner, he got underneath him on the exit of the corner. So here he goes again, wider on the way in, a little bit wide, and then looking as the track goes back uphill to get a good drive off a narrow exit. If your opponent runs a little bit wide and gets a little bit too sideways, still heaps of laps for him to pile on pressure and try to play that same tactic again. So to be the Rallycross Category King, it looks like a straight fight now between Zach Rattray-White and Ben Roberts, beginning to leave Callum Newton behind a little bit. When Newton's got the track position, he seems to defend really well. These two have gotten past him. Not sure Newton played his joker lap perfectly. Although, leaving it hanging over your head, if you don't have the clean air pace on these guys, is also not going to be a good thing to do. So maybe he actually did time it well, but he's just being beaten on Rallycross by Zach Rattray-White and Ben Roberts. Continue to fight here. Roberts has taken another fastest lap of the race, but it must be only fractionally. After qualifying, Benjamin Roberts had the fastest qualifying time. It was 38 thousandths of a second quicker than Zach Rattray-White. And that seems to be the kind of pace difference we're seeing now in racing conditions as well. Roberts quicker, but not half a second quicker, barely a tenth or two quicker per lap when he is quicker. Both of these guys have had that, haven't they? When leading their heats and being some of the fastest driver in their heats, just losing their cool a little bit. So Roberts had dropped back to almost 9 tenths behind the race leader here. He was closing back in again. Was managing to almost get to the inside of Rattray-White at that hairpin a couple of previous times. Now the pressure is just a little bit off. Diane Feldman, David Atkinson, and Justin Talent. I think Atkinson and Talent have a little bit of clean air pace. We'll see if either of them are able to catch Feldman, but it seems like a world of top three, and Rattray-White's finding a little bit of his own right now, as he now takes the fastest lap of the race. So the dirt moves around. They move the loose stuff off the racing line as they go, and it can get quicker as the laps continue to progress. Here's David Atkinson in 5th, 4 seconds to Feldman. So I think Feldman's just a tiny bit quicker, but it's a chance that Talent might catch Atkinson, I think, if I'm reading the direction the gaps are going lately. Oh, Atkinson runs super wide at the far bottom hairpin. Talent on a good line. Real wide still again, and then Talent runs a little bit wide. So easy to do when you see your rival do something like that. There was a real chance there for Justin Talent to close in on David Atkinson, and it went just a tiny bit begging. I think he might have pulled half a second or so, though, over this lap, but a really big opportunity maybe missed there.
Oh, pardon me. I've had my mic off, I think, for a while, David. Oh, this has been going really well. Probably since the overlays or the iRacing crashed. So I think all of the feature, we're going really well tonight.
Hopefully I've sounded insane this whole time.
Probably.
Justin Talent has really gotten close now to David Atkinson, though. Close enough to put some mistakes on. And I think in this part of the midfield, the pressure does lead to more mistakes. You're seeing them off the line that they really, really want to be quite commonly, as Justin Talent shows us perfectly. He goes and runs wide. We head down to the bottom of the hill. And this is where Atkinson's run wide a couple of times. But look at that line. Compare that line for these guys compared to what Zach Rattray-White and Benjamin Robson done. They always want to have their nose on the curbing. They want to have one tyre on that curbing. That's wide through the left-hander, though, for Atkinson. They're always looking to stay really tight through the apex of the long corners. Starting lap 14 to 20 of this feature.
We'll get back to the battle for the lead in due course. Right now, as you can see, 1.2 seconds on the tower. Watch these drivers scrapping over it for the time being. This is our closest battle on the track here of our 7 drivers. As Koistra goes a lap down as well. I've just noticed on the tower for good measure as well. And struggle, well, get to the end at least and finish off the event as both of them run wide as the left sweeper here.
Yeah, see, the dirt you can drive on, the grass you're not meant to. But that's a much better exit out of the final corner. With Justin Talent, who we ride on board with, still having a sniff around, going back David Atkinson. Diane Feldman's pulling away from the both of these. Rui Koistra's gone the lap down, like you said. Callum Newton sits 8 seconds behind the battling leaders. Roberts, he's finally finding a little bit of speed now, but is it too little too late? He goes and takes the fastest lap of the race, but we've just started 16 of 20, and he's not putting pressure on the rear bumper, giving it a nudge, tempting Zach Rattray-White to go too deep into some of these corners, tempting Rattray-White to be too eager with the throttle on the exit of some of these corners, when you do need to be patient on a loose surface.
Trying to make sense. Koistra on my timing has jumped up, down, and in fact is in the lane. I think he might have had a moment. Big moment. Yes.
Justin Talent gets ahead of David Atkinson. So finally that move's gone and happened. Talent's been able to get past. Oh, and now Atkinson always has a look down the inside on the exit there as well. Both of them giving a little bit of a kiss to the Armco on the exit, and both of them run a lot wider through that bottom hairpin than most of our others seem to do. This is what happened to Rui Koistra. On the way into the first hairpin, ripped the handbrake, half spun it around, launched across that, and gotten out of the way of Callum Newton. Back up front, 1.6 seconds as they work their way through a little bit of traffic. Zach Rattray-White gets past David Atkinson. Benjamin Roberts isn't going to want to be held up by David Atkinson here either. Zach Rattray-White's not far from catching Justin Talent. So here's the difference in the lines through the bottom there, and where the quick guys are finding so much speed. It's been way tighter, finding a bit of that curb, and also just getting to the power better when the car is straight on the exit rather than 45 degrees sideways, and you're spending all of your horsepower flinging dirt out the side.
Yeah, it will indeed. Now just 2 laps to go here in the feature to wrap up also the entire series here for the Kategory King, and it's looking pretty handy in the hands of Zach Rattray, because here's Ben Roberts still trying to get his way through the lap traffic of Justin Talent and David Atkinson. He's cleared Atkinson, but still Talent ahead. Well, that's also still what Zach Rattray just clears now. As the 91 finds the Armco, and several of them find it Armco all around the way as well.
Well, for many, many laps, it was close between our leaders, but when push has come to shove, Zach Rattray-White's extended out a little bit here over Ben Roberts. He gets past Justin Talent. We start the final lap of Rallycross in Kategory King, the very, very final event of 5 disciplines in Kategory King. Zach Rattray-White leads the points, he leads the race, and soon he will be the Kategory King, sealing it on the dirt at Hell, putting a bunch of the traffic a lap down. Ben Roberts is too far back. It's just 2 corners left for Zach Rattray-White through the left-hander, apexing at the gravel, downhill, back onto the pavement, flicking back uphill, over the crest, the checkered flag for Zach Rattray White as he wins the feature on dirt, and he wins ANZ E-Series Motorsport Australia Esports Category King. He's going to rip the handbrake in celebration.
That he is. It's been a well-earned performance here from Zach Rattray White, and me edging straight to the roundabout in the testing part of the venue there. And that for Ben Roberts will mean a runners-up result for him at the end of it all as well. In fact, well, unfortunately, that's all she said and done there, it seems, as Roberts will give us a few more skids, and so that he'll be done there as well for good measure. And with that, that's going to be the end of action here at Hell, it seems.
When you're going through Hell, just keep going. Let's take a look at the feature results from Hell Lankenbanen. Having done qualifying to set the heats to set the feature, Zach Rattray White wins from Ben Roberts, both of them with their own just tiny little mistakes, but outpacing Callum Newton in the end. Diane Feldman in fourth. Justin Talent and David Atkinson had a great battle throughout this one. Talent prevailing just at the end, gets fifth ahead of Atkinson, sixth, and Requestra had some dramas and was running seventh, ends up finishing seventh.
Yeah, unfortunately, not the night that Rue might have liked, but he is here. He will be the driver to come home there at the end of it all. And with that, it's now time to check in with post-race interviews here. And it looks like, well, the first driver I saw him was Benny Roberts, with our whole three on the feature podium here. So, David, I'll leave it with you as to which way we want to go tonight in terms of the order. And you're going to grab the man who came home in third place. And I'll hand to you to speak here with Callum Newton.
Well, congrats, Callum. You fought them hard, and everyone, kind of surprising me, taking the Joker so early in that feature.
Yeah, just to try and get away from everyone else, I think was the plan for most people. Just to get some clean track to themselves, not get slowed down.
And then how did you find the rallycross overall? This is one of the most famous rallycross circuits. So, I mean, it's got all of the things you look for in the variation, a lot of tight corners, big changes of surface all the way through.
Yeah, I found it quite bumpy, you know. The dirt sections were very interesting. You kind of had to set it up on the asphalt before you got there. But all of that, it's just a very fun track to drive.
Well, not only third in this race, third in the feature, you pick up points to surpass a couple of your rivals and go to third in the outright standings of Category King as well. How have you found all of the 5 disciplines? A series built up not of, racing one type of car or one kind of circuit.
It's a very fun series. I would do it again if it's on. It's definitely brings out a different level of skill in drivers, not just are you good at one sort of discipline, it's are you good overall. And, dirt is one of my favorite things to drive, but also asphalt is very fun in terms of wheel-to-wheel racing, so very good series overall.
To handbrake or not to handbrake?
For these cars, because they've got such low power, most of us went no handbrake, but if you mess up a dirt entry, it's just great to grab the handbrake and bring the nose around.
Fantastic. Congrats. Third in the feature, third in the championship.
Thank you, guys.
We'll get to second place. Ben Roberts was second.
That he was indeed. Oh, that's not quite Benny Roberts, as we'll bring him up here on screen now. And gave Zach a good fight there, Ben, in the first half of the race. Unfortunately, just looked like he didn't quite have enough to go with him at the very end.
Yeah, he's just too good for me. I just didn't have the consistency. Still a great race, though. And, proud of my efforts for that one.
I mean, 100% you sure should be. It's not something I've seen you do a lot of dirt racing. So how's it been running all of the events here in the Category King, and the variety of and what have the different types of road racing disciplines required you to sort of like learn or master as we've gone across these different categories and cars and track combinations?
Occasionally in officials I do sort of maybe a tiny bit of everything, except usually the rallycross, but I guess across all disciplines it's just good to sort of practice sort of new driving techniques, new ways to go faster that can maybe sort of help you in other disciplines. So yeah, it's been a real interesting experience and it's been a lot of fun over the last few weeks.
Indeed. Well, I guess, yeah, different thing to finish here tonight. Much experience at Hell before doing this? You said you've done, obviously, you dabble in things a little bit before, but did you have any experience before tonight here at Hell, or was this very much coming in to something new for you here tonight?
The occasional practice laps when the track came out, other than not really anything except sort of when I was still playing Dirt Rally. But yeah, that's about it for my experience here.
Well, second place here tonight in the feature race, and also second in your heat. For good measure, it also means it's going to be second place in the standings for the Category King overall. Congratulations for it, Ben. Anyone you want to thank for helping you get that result done here tonight?
Yeah, big thanks to the team, DPR, all our sponsors, MP Design, Southwell Lifts and Hoist, Ben Max Mechanical, Simrigs, and big thanks to ANZ and Motorsport Australia for putting this on. As I said before, this has been a lot of fun, and thanks to you guys in the booth for broadcasting this.
Well, there you have it, Benny Roberts, second all around here tonight for him, David. Just leave us one final driver to speak to here tonight to wrap up proceedings this evening. It's going to be Zach Ratchway White, who we will grab now from the waiting room, and I hand to you here, David, to chat to him now.
Yeah, not just the feature winner, but the Category King across all 5 disciplines. Our congratulations to you, Zach. Well done.
Thanks, Mark.
A tough old little race, honestly, in that feature. I think the first 5 or 6 laps were the majority of the action. You were one of the drivers who went for that Joker really, really early.
Yeah, I saw Benny on my outside, so I thought that if I took it straight away, I could kind of hold him up a bit, and he took it as well. So I was kind of just on the handbrake the entire time, just checking him up, which was good. Gave me a nice cheeky 2x, but yeah, if he got past me, I was ready to absolutely boost people out of the way.
And then those first 10 laps, he really had pace to match you. Obviously, he was quickest in the qualifying, but you've got to really force a mistake out of your opponent to pass on a short, tight racetrack.
Yeah, I was first half of the race was kind of just like trying not to fence it like I did in the heat race. Made a muppet of myself there. So yeah, like I said, if you got past me, I was ready to show the door. Yeah, it is what it is. It's rallycross, so you can kind of give a bit more than usual.
And the big curbs around here, elevation changes, change of surface, all of that. It looks like when you're really, really trying to find that last tenth, there is quite a bit of risk. And we saw that from you, and I think we saw that from Ben as well in the heats, that when you're really, really taking some risk around here, it's tough.
Yeah, the curbs in iRacing are so RNG on rallycross. They're just like either you die or you don't. There's kind of that middle ground where you kind of hook the tire on the inside of the curb and it just drags you around the corner, which is like at some tracks a second quicker. So but yeah, the flip side is that you do die sometimes, which happened to him in the heat race, so it kind of just spins you out for no reason whatsoever.
So then a 20 lap feature, is that too much risk to take it every time, or time to make up the time if it does bite you once or twice?
It's kind of just play it safe for at least the first half of the race, which I was doing. I mean, you can kind of ride the curb normally, like you normally would in a car, and it will kind of give you a bit more grip, but to get the full grip, you kind of just have to hook it and hope that it doesn't kill you. And the surface in iRacing, it goes between grippy at the start, and then in the middle of the thing, it just has no grip, and it will come back at the end. And yeah, you can kind of get away with just running the middle when it gets to this kind of condition.
To handbrake or not to handbrake?
I'm no handbrake. It's kind of just, yeah. I think slip angle in this car is a bit slower. You can kind of get a bit, obviously, to get it turned, but I think it's, yeah, a bit useless. Use it on the start, but after that, no touchy.
And with the 5 disciplines we've had across this series, which one do you enjoy most? Which one gave you the most satisfaction?
I thought the IndyCar was pretty funny. Yeah, that was a good race. Literally coming down to the last 10 meters was, yeah, good. And we had Byron in the call at the time giving us a complete rundown of the thing, pretty much commentating like you guys were. So that was really funny. Yeah.
Well, across 5 disciplines, you bag the most points. You bag the feature race win in the very, very final discipline of dirt road, and you are ANZ E-Series and Motorsport Australia Esports Category King. Congratulations. I'm sure you have a thanks or two to give.
Yeah, thanks, mate. Basically, just thanks to you guys for the broadcasts and the ANZ team for putting it on.
Beauty, well done.
Thanks, mate.
Zach Rattray White is the Category King as we wrap things up from Hallankan Barnan and SimSpeed TV coverage of this series, ANZ E-Series and Motorsport Australia's Category King. There's yet more racing if you want to get involved with it, Daniel.
Sure is indeed. Recently announced by Motorsport Australia and ANZ E-Series, they'll be continuing their partnership with what they're calling the Next Gen Talent Series. As you can see here, we're running from the 29th of November through to the 13th of December. Please note, though, that for this event coming up, you must be under the age of 17 when registrations close on the 22nd of November. So you've got 2 weeks still to get yourself signed up if you're interested in taking part in that one there with racing on Friday nights, starting Friday the 29th, Friday the 6th, and Friday the 13th of December to wrap that series up. And so a short, sharp one before Christmas, and to see if drivers who we might know, might not know, because we'll be broadcasting it here on SimSpeed as well, David, as to who might come out on top, as they'll all be racing in the BMW M4 GT4, the new G82 specification as well.
The largest sniffing GT4 indeed is what they're going to be racing across 3 consecutive weeks for ANZ E-Series Motorsport Australia Next Gen Talent. We've worked out the Category King. And congratulations go to Zach Rattray White. Thank you for joining us of our coverage of all of it across all of the 5 different disciplines. We've seen so much varied and interesting racing through all of it. The biggest scorer has been Zach Rattray White. If you want to stay involved with ANZ E-Series and Motorsport Australia Esports, make sure you search it up and you keep in touch with the events coming up, including registrations that are open there for Next Gen Talent. I've been David Haynes with Daniel Yeaman from Hallankan Barnan Rallycross, and that's all from us.
It's motorsport, but not as you know it. Test yourself and your everyday road car. Safe, affordable, but most of all, fun. And all you need is your daily driver. Experience the thrill of a sprint day. Race against the clock at a hill climb. Or test your reflexes with an auto test. It takes just 3 simple steps to get started. Get on the start line. Search Motorsport Australia Daily Driver today.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.